Hello, my name's Eric Crump. I'm with the Homewood-Flossmoor Chronicle. Welcome to Meet the Candidates, our interview series introducing candidates who will be on the ballot Election Day, April 1st. Today we're talking with Tiffany Cole, who's running for the Homewood Board of Trustees. Welcome, Tiffany. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
Why don't we start with just your account of how you decided to run for the Board of Trustees?
Well, I've lived in Homewood over 25 years. I love my community. I'm a homeowner. I'm a parent. And I have issues that I have a passion for in the community. And I feel that I have a great voice to be able to add to some sort of policy initiative. So I'm excited to be a candidate running for Village Board.
Why don't we talk a little bit about some of the things that are top of your list of policy initiatives or goals that you might have if you're elected?
My top goals would be focusing on supporting local and small businesses. They're the pillar of the community, and I know that without them being in our, that's partly, well, mostly of the downtown area is the small businesses. So I do feel that is an important aspect of the community. They support our local youth activities. They support our local events in the community. They support charities in the community. And so I do feel that the small businesses are very important, and I do want to fight for them.
I'm glad you mentioned that. That is an issue that we deal with, is how can small businesses, especially retail, survive? I mean, the economy nationally has changed dramatically in recent years, especially since the pandemic. And so the question often is what the village's role can be in helping them survive. And the village already does, some things which the Homewood work with the Homewood Business Association and so on. Are there things that you think the village isn't doing that it should explore?
I would say that the village is doing a great job at that already. I do see where there is the need to push more of the initiative so that the small businesses know what resources are out there for them. I don't necessarily think that there's enough information and support on that aspect. I think that there's more opportunity for networking within the small businesses. I was researching actually more ways to be able to implement more, I would say just trying to get the small businesses to network within the community of small business. Like, how can other small businesses support other small businesses within the community, because they all work together. And so I would really like to see more of that initiative if possible. Like, how can we bring it together, like some sort of summit of small businesses where they all come together and they can kind of provide resources to one another where they're networking. And so I haven't seen that. The Homewood Business Association does do a great they do have a lot of resources on that end, but I do know it's just the businesses as a whole. But also, I think the village could assist more in providing financial assistance with small businesses, and also possibly streamlining the permitting and licensing processes to see if there's ways that we can get around it to allow some of those local and small businesses to, grow and, come on, to be able to open up within the community faster and more effectively.
Okay, thanks. The small businesses are like a foundation, especially downtown and in Southgate, but Homewood's also very assertive and has been for decades in attracting new businesses to town, and especially big retail businesses whenever possible to generate all that sales tax. The village has already got a track record and a practice as far as that goes. Are there things that you think the village should be doing differently in terms of economic development initiatives and how they attract businesses to town?
There's always ways to improve that. I think once we get in there, we can kind of see what things that they already have in place and kind of go from there. But there's always room for improvement. And, I think that maybe, networking within, and there's a lot of corporations that, they want to go into thriving communities. And I think if you already have a thriving small and local business community, I think the rest of it will follow. So I would say that we can continue to improve on that. I'm still searching on ways that can happen, and I know being able to communicate and effectively work with other team members that we can come to some sort of like plan and resolution and initiate policies that we can try to see how we can do that more effectively, especially without adding a TIF to every single, corporation or company or big box store that comes to the neighborhood. I know we can find ways to bring big businesses to the community without always having to rely on a TIF.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. That is something that people in the community talk about sometimes. Is when we bring in big businesses, we offer them incentives.
Right.
The two main ones are TIF and Class A property tax relief. The village's position has long been that we're competing with low-tax neighbors in northwest Indiana and Will County. Are there other ways to attract businesses, do you think, when we're adjacent to places that are cheaper to do business in?
And that's a hard one. I mean, like I said, if we're already a thriving community, and we have, we can show proof that we are thriving and we're growing, I think we can still bring those businesses in. Homewood is a thriving community, and we are growing. The diversity is wonderful. That's one of the reasons why I want to stay here. I want to, continue to raise my children here. I've already sent one grown adult child off, and she's exploring the world, and I have 3 more to go. But I think we are a thriving community, and I think as long as we can show that we're growing and we have residents that are willing to put into the businesses, then I think we're already on the right track. So I just think researching it more and trying to find ways to do that is what we can focus on. But I'm still researching that, and I know, talking with other team members within the board members, the other business entities within the local government here, we can come up with some solutions to bring those businesses without always providing those tax incentives, because the thing is, we're not always getting out of it what we give them. It seems like they always end up leaving, without providing what they promised us with that type of incentive. Okay. So that's how I feel about it. And I know that's a great way to bring it in, but are there options? Can we not always find the easy way out? Are there other options that we can try to, see what works?
Okay, yeah, something that needs to be explored and assessed as
right.
far
Do we
as
have to rely on that all the time? Is that the only option? Yeah, that's all.
I think there's people in the community who would be interested in knowing if those other solutions.
And I'm new to all this. Yeah. I mean, I follow things, but but I'm still learning, and I'm learning from other people, and so I know that getting into the role of being a board trustee, I'll learn from other people. I think everybody in the community and the people that work within the local municipality, we all want to see good things come from the village. I don't think anyone wants to see, the community fail as a whole, and we want to see economic development. We want to see a thriving community. So everybody's going to work towards that.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a somewhat related topic that we're interested in talking about because it's really on the minds of the community a lot, and that's the property tax situation. And it relates to how our economy is doing, and especially since last summer when everybody got hit with really high property tax bills, there's been real concern that the system is just not functioning for people well. And part of the problem in the Southland is we don't have quite a big enough commercial base to help balance out the demands of the property tax system. So more burden falls on residents. But it's a difficult situation to solve, right? Because municipalities and schools and libraries still need property tax revenue in order to provide the services that we expect from them. So I know there are limited things that the village board can do, but I'm also wondering what you think the board's role could be in just helping the community deal with that situation, the high bills and the need for services, and how do we fund government, basically?
Right.
Yeah.
I would say researching and finding resources that will help the residents. I mean, I think in the government as a whole, people try to find ways to mitigate burdens on, the people that live in those communities. But there's always some way around determining what those resources would be, I would say. I don't know if we, outside of just giving the information to the public, what those options could be. I don't know. It's kind of like you're in between a rock and a hard place to try to figure out what those strategies could be. I'm still learning about it all. I mean, again, I'm a homeowner. My property taxes went up as well. But I think just, having a strategy to say, okay, what are the driving factors of why the property taxes are, rising, because it's not just Homewood. So it's an Illinois issue. It's a county issue. And I think the only way to really figure that out is to just kind of research and figure out and talk to the assessor and see what policies and processes, and are there any tax breaks, just anything like that we could give to the community members, the residents, that would offset some of that burden. But I mean, I'm still learning about it myself, and I mean, as I get to talk to people, I'm learning more information about it. But I think as a whole, if the community comes out and shows their problem with the issues at hand, I think everybody needs to speak up. The more people that speak up, it makes change. So I think if we all do that, and with the help of the local municipalities and the government and everybody speaking out, I think we can try to get some resolve. But it's this ongoing thing of, where is it all derived from?
Yeah. You're not alone in struggling with how to solve that. Everybody is, right? So,
Yeah.
it's a tough question. But you did mention something that I think is important to follow up on. And in fact, the assessor said the same thing when he was here last summer for a town hall meeting. He said people, the residents, the taxpayers really need to be expressing their dissatisfaction with the system and the problems that they're having making payments and dealing with the bureaucracy, because he said that's the only way we can change is if the people tell us that they have a concern. And that applies, I think, to all of our issues,
yes.
right? And so I was wondering, Homewood currently, there's often opportunity during board meetings for people to speak up if they have questions or concerns. But I still hear from residents sometimes saying they don't really feel like they're part of the process. So that even though the villages try to do their best, there seems like there's more we could do to actually include more voices. And I wondered if you had ideas about how to make that happen.
I think one would be having town hall meetings. Our platform, the Greener Homewood Party, has been, we want to start implementing town hall meetings. It's less formal than a board meeting. It's more of a, everybody can come in and raise their hand and speak, and you can, give a response to another resident, and everybody's sharing information, and it's so less formal than a board meeting. There's limited access to be able to give input. It's more of a statement at the board meeting. You're making a statement, and there's really not a back and forth conversation like you would have at a town hall, and it's open for all residents. So if every resident in the village wanted to come to the town hall, they are welcome at the town hall, versus, there's only so much space in a board meeting, and it's just more formal. And so I think town halls are a great idea to be able to have all the residents come out at once, and everybody can share information. You get to meet your neighbors and be able to have a direct interaction with the board members and your local government.
Okay. One other question. This actually refers back a little bit to something you mentioned earlier about you're interested in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the one thing that isn't, this is like property taxes. This is a difficult question to answer, but we want to see how people are thinking about it. The federal government is undergoing some pretty radical changes since the inauguration of Donald Trump, and a lot of that involves reducing staff, cutting and reducing programs, including some programs that people have been depending on for generations. And there's been a direct attack on DEI, scrubbing it from the federal government, or mentions of it from the federal government. But our community is pretty diverse and proud of our equity and inclusion. So generally, with all those changes coming down and filtering down into our community, how do you think the board can help the community deal with these dramatic changes that are happening?
I would say just continue to put out there, let everyone know in the community that you support it. You support, diversity, equity, and inclusion. If you're saying it and you're showing it in the way that you operate your community, I think, and we're already there. We could definitely improve. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but find ways that those minority groups find out. Maybe within surveys, what can we do to assist you with being more inclusive? How can we be more diverse in our community? How can we have more equality in our community? But we're already there, and we can continue to do better. I know we can, and that's one of the reasons why I love the community, because it is diverse. I want to be able to raise my children in a diverse community because the world is diverse. I don't think we should all be living in one bubble of one, this and that, and so. It's important to be able to include everyone. We're human beings, and we should all be treated as such. I'm excited to be able to work alongside a diverse and inclusive government.
So we keep doing what we're doing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good. Well, we've covered some big issues that are on the minds of our community frequently. But I wondered if there are things we haven't covered that you think are important for the community to know about you, or about what you would bring to the board if you're elected.
I would just say that I'm going to be your voice. There's issues in the community. I mean, everybody probably feels like they're not being heard. And so, there's always a lapse somewhere. And so I just want to say, from my perspective, we see you, we hear you, and we want to try to reach as many residents as we can and try to see where they feel like there's a need for some type of change or some policy to be implemented. And we'll definitely work on that. We're going to make that a priority within our if we're elected. And so, if you have issues or concerns, we just ask that you speak up. I also feel that because we are a community, every resident has a role here. We want to keep Homewood, being a great community, because it is a great community. I will say that our mayor has done some great things in this community. And so, people want to move here because it's a great community. It's diverse. So let's keep it going. I love your neighbor, and I have great neighbors, and I know a lot of people in my community. I volunteer at the schools when I can, and my children have great friends in the community, and we try to get out and do community service, when we're able. And so I just think if everybody does a little bit in the community, it will continue to be the great community that it is, and it'll continue to grow into this, what everybody wants from it. I think whatever you put in is what you get out of it. And so if everybody gives a little, it'll continue to be, what it should be. But if everybody falters and leaves it up to one other person, you're only going to get out of it what you put in it. So I just urge the residents to come out. vote for your issues. Let your voice be heard, and we will also speak on your behalf. We see you and we hear you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, we appreciate it, and good luck to you on April 1st.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Okay.
Gosh, did I fumble and mumble? My God.
You did good.
Stay still. Just do the intro again, and you can recite or recap some of the things you talked
Okay.
about already, and looking at the camera,
Okay.
and when you're ready.
Hello, my name's Eric Crump. I'm with the Homewood-Flossmoor Chronicle. Welcome to Meet the Candidates, our series of interviews with people who will be on the ballot on Election Day, April 1st. Today we're talking with Tiffany Cole, who's running for Homewood Board of Trustees. Tiffany talks a little bit about economic development issues, especially continuing to attract business to Homewood without as much reliance on incentives. She also is very passionate about small business support and would like to see the village do more to help small businesses thrive. We'll also talk a little bit about the effect of the federal government's changes recently and how they could affect our community, especially a policy change downplaying diversity, equity, and inclusion, which she says our community values and that we should continue to support. Okay.
Great. All right. Thank you.
All right. Great. Great job.